hellish night in the capital. When and how will the heating season start in Ukraine, and what about the clock change? All this and more, right now. Hello friends, I'm Irina Prokofieva and this is TSN. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, watch the broadcast, and be sure to comment on what you found most interesting. We're getting started. 9 ballistic missiles. The enemy launched Iskander-M missiles at Ukraine last night. 4 of them, as well as 50 drones, were destroyed by Ukraine's air forces. In total, the enemy sent more than 60 attack UAVs across our country. Drones of the Shahed, Geran, and other types were flying in from the directions of Kursk, Oryol, and the territory of temporarily occupied Crimea. Our air defenders repelled the enemy attack in the north, south, and east of the country. There were impacts from 5 ballistic missiles and 12 attack drones. This was recorded at 11 locations, according to the Air Force. Since the beginning of this year alone, Russia has launched 770 ballistic missiles and more than 50 Kinzhals at Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky announced this. The head of state added that almost every attack against ordinary peaceful Ukrainians involves combined ballistic strikes. In particular, the capital endured yet another restless night today. 2 people were killed and another 13 Kyiv residents sustained injuries of varying severity. Ballistic missiles. The enemy launched them at the city around 4 in the morning. Loud explosions were heard in Kyiv and fires broke out. The State Emergency Service reported strikes in 3 districts of the city: Desnyanske, Dnipropetrovsk, and Darnitsky. In particular, in the Darnitsky district, fires broke out in non-residential buildings at 2 locations. In the Dnipropetrovsk district, the enemy struck an open area. As a result of falling debris near residential buildings at several addresses, windows and doors in apartments were blown out. A kindergarten building was also damaged. There, windows and doors were shattered. In the Desnyanske district, falling debris caused a large-scale fire at several warehouse facilities covering an area of 13,000 square meters. The flames were intense. Firefighters tried to bring it under control almost the entire day. Even helicopters were involved in extinguishing the fire. How the city is recovering after the enemy's night attack was reported by DSNS spokesperson Pavlo Petrov.
Here we had a fire that spread through the buildings over an area of 13,000 square meters. As of now, the fire has been contained. We hope that in the near future we will be able to fully extinguish it. We also had aviation from the State Emergency Service of Ukraine involved here. A large number of specialized vehicles were deployed. Specifically in the Desnyanske district, which is currently undergoing recovery operations, rescuers evacuated 3 cats from the affected buildings. One of them was immediately taken to a shelter. We have 3 of them. It's 1 little girl and 2 boys. We've just posted about them on our social media. We're looking for families for them because they're just babies, so we don't have to send them to a shelter to find people who were actually in that situation. What
happened in the first hours after the enemy attack was witnessed by TSN correspondent Olena Hushchik. Next, let's watch her report from the site where the debris fell in the Desnyanske district of the capital.
I'm currently working in the Kherson district of the capital. Here, as of 9 a.m., rescuers are still working to extinguish the fire that broke out around 4 a.m. This is a completely civilian facility, a tire service station. As you can see, the fire behind me, there are no visible flames anymore, but the smoke is still spreading. Preliminarily, there are no casualties at this location, and firefighters continue their work.
However, even after a terrible and loud night, the city quickly recovered and went on with life. In the Desnyanske district, for example, near the site of the strike, it was still thick with smoke, but residents still came to the local market, which, despite everything, opened on schedule. Some people even decided not to break their routines and went to the pond to fish, fighting off the stress of the night. Well, and the residents of the buildings that were damaged by the explosion started early in the morning, covering broken windows with plastic film and insulating them, and with OSB boards. Locals emotionally shared what they had experienced and heard that night, but everyone is sure of one thing: we will endure.
But truly chilling here.
So is this how we work now?
Yes, everyone works like this. And there's no choice, we have to go out and earn a living.
Are they going to the market?
Well, not really yet. People aren't very active after the night.
So tell me, did you hear it at night? The explosion?
Of course, and the fire was blazing, so much so that I was at the 13th, then further in front of the school. We had such a huge explosion, such fear that... And right away I was going to... It's okay, we'll get through the hard time.
In Kamyanske in the Dnipropetrovsk region, there were powerful explosions. According to the Air Force, there was a threat of missiles. Preliminarily, they targeted critical infrastructure. After the explosions, a column of smoke rose above the site of the attack. The consequences are currently being determined. The day before, the occupiers struck the Petropavlivka community. There, a woman and a rescuer who was extinguishing the aftermath of the shelling were killed when Russia struck again. His colleague and 6 more people were injured. 2 fire trucks and her store were damaged. There were also fires in the Nikopol and Volgograd districts. Infrastructure was damaged there as well. They were extinguishing fires after the shelling in Kherson as well. The number of people injured in the city from the attack has also increased. This happened the day before. Now there are 33 of them. 2 more people have died. 30 apartment buildings, more than 60 private houses, and public transport were damaged. In Antonivka, an elderly woman was injured by a Russian explosive device. Hundreds of strikes, dozens of settlements in Zaporizhzhia experience this every day. Due to a drone strike, a 63-year-old man was wounded in Primorske. In the frontline communities, more than 30 houses, cars, and infrastructure facilities have been damaged. The UK will accelerate the production of 5,000 light multipurpose missiles for Ukraine to help protect our energy sector during the cold season. And France will deliver additional Aster air defense missiles to our country in the coming days. And fighter jets, Mirage. These are, in particular, the results of the meeting of the coalition of willing countries in London, attended by President Volodymyr Zelensky. The leaders of Denmark, the UK, the Netherlands, and the head of NATO were joined online by the President of France and the Prime Minister of Japan. The head of the British government, Keir Starmer, stated that Ukraine's partners aim to severely restrict Russian oil and gas access to global markets by the end of this year, in order to further drain the Russian economy. Earlier, Volodymyr Zelensky met with King Charles III of Britain, and at the meeting with Prime Minister Starmer, Zelensky showcased the Ukrainian interceptor drone Octopus. The UK will manufacture them for further testing in Ukraine. The agreement provides for the production of the first batch.
We are very grateful for your willingness to provide us with assistance. We agreed to continue supporting and assisting Ukraine next year. We talked about resilience, about the need for financial support, which is absolutely essential.
The sanctions that the US has imposed on the largest Russian oil companies will deprive them of revenue and significantly increase the pressure on Putin. Ukraine continues to bravely defend itself, and our support is yielding results. The truth is that Putin is running out of money, troops, and ideas. President Trump put it very well. They must stop where they are now. And now is exactly the time to increase the pressure on Russia.
Russia has reported a drone attack on a power substation in the Volgograd region and on a private building. This was stated by the governor of the region. According to him, there were no casualties. This is already the second strike on the Balashevskaya station, which provides electricity transit and supplies several regions. The first attack was on October 16th. Loud explosions were also heard in the Belgorod region. The local governor reported shelling of the dam at the Belgorod reservoir. According to him, buildings with technical equipment have been damaged. The lifting mechanisms and the crest of the dam have also been affected, and in the event of another strike, the official warns it could be completely destroyed. In that case, settlements with about 1,000 residents would be at risk of flooding. The Russian authorities are already urging them to evacuate now. Enemy telegram channels claim that the Ukrainian army struck the dam with HIMARS missiles. The Russians are trying to amass their forces in Pokrovsk. They are infiltrating the city covertly. The situation in this direction is more than critical. Officers from units that have been fighting in this sector for a long time shared this information in a conversation with Ukrainska Pravda. According to them, there are currently at least 250 occupiers in Pokrovsk. They are engaging in firefights and shooting civilians who still remain in the city. They also mentioned that logistics to the city have become more complicated. All access roads are monitored by enemy drones. Our soldiers have to walk 10 to 15 kilometers on foot to reach their positions, but the Ukrainian armed forces are holding on and repelling enemy assaults. In this direction alone, more than 50 attacks have been stopped in the past day. Overall, there have been 141 combat engagements recorded along the entire front, according to the General Staff's reports. Meanwhile, operators of the Guard Border Brigade's UAVs managed to destroy a significant amount of enemy equipment in the southern Slobozansky direction. In particular, Ukrainian soldiers turned 2 tanks, a vehicle, and an electronic warfare system into scrap metal. Shares of Rosneft and Lukoil plummeted rapidly in the very first days after the United States imposed sanctions. This is being reported by Russian media. Thus, in just 2 days, October 23rd and 24th, the combined capitalization of the 2 main oil giants of the aggressor country decreased by more than $5 billion. According to the Moscow Times, these companies have been experiencing a significant decline in profits due to the sanctions imposed by the United States. Now, in the first half of the year, Lukoil's profits have halved, while Rosneft's have dropped threefold. Russian analysts predict that the new sanctions will eventually lead to even bigger problems. According to international experts, the main impact of the sanctions is that now Lukoil, Rosneft, is effectively cut off from the global market and international payment systems. Because of fears of secondary sanctions, no one can do business with them directly. Meanwhile, Putin himself has stated that the new restrictions will not have a significant impact on the Russian economy. To this, US President Donald Trump responded sarcastically, saying he was glad for Putin, but suggested revisiting the conversation in about 6 months. Friends, do you think the sanctions imposed on Russia are working? What's your opinion? Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments under this broadcast on YouTube. Of course, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Meanwhile, I'll keep going. This is TSN. A test for the government, one of the toughest in history. The enemy is doing everything to disrupt it. And these are just a few of the phrases Ukrainians could have heard this week about the heating season from government officials, city leaders, or energy workers. Due to continuous shelling, not only have the thermal power plants stopped, but gas injection into storage facilities has also been temporarily halted. So what will happen with heating this winter? What scenarios is the government preparing for? And who already has heat? TSN correspondent Alexander Romaniuk found out everything.
If we survive that winter, then we've already learned a thing or two.
The blackouts in 2022, admits Oksana Usenko from Sumy, made her family prepare in advance for all possible hardships, including problems with heating.
If there's no heating in our home, we've already bought a special heater to keep us warm. If there's no electricity, we bought a portable power station last year to make sure we have backup power.
Sumy is just 30 kilometers from the Russian border. Despite constant enemy shelling, the heating season in social institutions here began a few weeks ago. In residential buildings, people are waiting for it to start on October 27th. But this date, as acknowledged by the city military administration, will depend both on the outdoor temperature and the security situation. After all, the enemy is deliberately targeting the region's energy facilities.
Right now, we are in a situation where we need to have an action plan in case of emergencies. We agreed that this will be carried out in close coordination with the government for reasons that are absolutely clear to all of us.
The start of the heating season and possible threats were also discussed today in the Verkhovna Rada during the government's Q&A session. Almost all regions, as acknowledged by the Cabinet of Ministers, have prepared for it on time. And this is the result of work that began back in the spring. For example, the rapid restoration of energy infrastructure after missile strikes. This is precisely the result of such preparation.
In order to counter these heavy strikes, first, you need to possess available funds, be able to allocate them very quickly, have replacement parts to carry out all the repairs, and have mobile teams, crews that are equipped with everything necessary.
Experts say that by autumn alone, Ukraine's energy sector managed to withstand more than 20 attacks. And the fact that it continued to function is quite an achievement. As of now, heating has started to be supplied in 14 regions, to socially important facilities. But in some areas, the security situation does not allow this to be done. The situation is currently most difficult in Donetsk and Luhansk regions, as well as in parts of Zaporizhzhia, Sumy and Kherson regions.
The problem remains for us. Again, it's a matter of strikes on energy facilities and the speed at which they can be restored, the supply of heat, the supply of electricity for...
Moreover, the enemy has changed its approach to attacking energy facilities. They strike them massively and with precision, and often repeat the attacks to injure the energy workers who are restoring them.
Previously, it used to be 1 or 2 missiles per facility, but now it can be 20 drones in a single strike, and then a couple of hours later, another 10 drones. Depending on which part of the substation was hit, it can either be a quick restoration or a much longer recovery period.
This year, Ukraine has faced a new challenge as well. In previous years, Russia did not touch our gas infrastructure because it was using it to pump gas to Europe. Now, however, compressor stations and gas fields are already in its hostile crosshairs.
Very often the equipment we lose, such as large compressors, for example, is not the kind of equipment that sits in warehouses by the dozens, not even at the manufacturers. That is, many units of equipment need to be produced for a specific order, and unfortunately this production takes not weeks, but months.
Shelling of the fields has also affected the amount of gas injected into storage facilities.
I don't want to publicly talk in detail about the losses in domestic gas production, but this is primarily related to the fact that we immediately and urgently need to address the issue of additional gas imports.
Ukraine, together with its partners, is currently increasing imports. The government has allocated an additional almost 8.5 billion hryvnias for this. Also this year, our country received a loan for the purchase of gas under EU guarantees for the first time. We
have a rather strong situation. This includes receiving certain loans, grants, and so on related to gas procurement. That's why I believe this support is ongoing.
At the same time, the government admits that there is currently no set date for the start of the heating season. Communities can make their own decisions about when to begin it. At the same time, the state will monitor the electricity deficit. After all, in the absence of heating, Ukrainians start actively using heaters and air conditioners. And this, in turn, creates additional strain on the energy system, which is also being actively shelled by the enemy.
We will be monitoring the electricity consumption balancing levels, which are also pushing us to turn on the heating as quickly as possible. That's why the current efforts are aimed at turning on the heating energy as quickly as possible.
Ukraine is also preparing for the worst-case scenario, for example, if the enemy leaves citizens without heat. Currently, in every region, headquarters and protocols have been established for how to act in case of emergencies.
There are various options for resolving emergency situations. All of them have been worked out. We can talk about generators, we can talk about heat guns, we can talk about modular boiler units.
In Sumy, for example, 38 points of invincibility and 17 heating stations have been identified and set up. If necessary, their number will be increased. Alexander Romaniuk, Natalia Tkachuk, Oksana Solodovnik, Alexander Levin, TSN1+.
A construction boom of new housing, new prices for apartments on the secondary market, and numerous government programs that make it possible to get a mortgage for real estate. Cheaper. What are the options to choose from? Where is the price per square meter the lowest? And do they include the cost of a generator or the presence of a shelter in the price? TSN Week will tell you all the nuances of buying an apartment in different regions of Ukraine tomorrow. So if you've decided to make such a purchase, be sure to watch. A residential construction boom after the wartime coma.
Businesses are relocating, people are relocating, money is flowing into the region, so new construction is being actively launched there.
How developers from the capital have turned the west of the country into one big construction site and have transformed cozy little towns into bustling metropolises.
The city is tiny, and if I get stuck in traffic for 15 minutes, I already start to tremble. How can you wait that long?
Who sets the housing prices in Uzhhorod, the only city in Ukraine without a curfew?
Maybe they don't even need it. There's a curfew here.
And the population has actually tripled in the past several years.
Kindergartens and classrooms are completely overcrowded.
Where in Ukraine is the price per square meter in new buildings the highest? And could the apartment boom in the West become a financial trap for both developers and buyers? Everything you need to know before investing in an apartment, TSN Week will tell you tomorrow at exactly 8 p.m. Don't miss it. A large-scale memorial event was held on Independence Square in the capital. Relatives of the missing, They came from different regions of Ukraine, bringing with them photos of their loved ones whose fate has been unknown since they disappeared at the front. At the event, they also unfurled a huge flag with the faces of thousands of the missing and held a silent performance. How did it all happen, and why did the families of the missing come out for this event? TSN correspondent Mariana Bukan was there and will tell us everything now.
An event of love, hope, support, and remembrance. Relatives of those missing during the Russian-Ukrainian war gathered on Independence Square today. All these people came here only so that their loved ones would not be forgotten.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
If we keep quiet, our boys have no chance of survival. Today, we are their voice so that they can live and return.
We are the family of those who are waiting.
We are the family of those who do not give up and will not give up.
Everyone who came here today believes their loved ones are alive.
Yes, I believe. For example, I believe that my husband is alive. I want to believe in this. But unfortunately, any truth is hard to bear. Because he is a human being, he shouldn't, as you say cynically, he shouldn't be left lying there like a dog because he is a defender. And he shouldn't rot in prison either. And they have no right to judge him because he was following orders. If he's not in captivity, then let them return him to me.
So that I
know where my children are, they need to come to their father. I have small children.
On the buckets, everyone could easily see the largest Ukrainian flag, which was clearly visible due to its impressive size and striking appearance, measuring an extraordinary length of 170 meters.
The organizers of the event brought a huge flag here today. It is 170 meters long, and on it are the portraits of 5,800 defenders who have gone missing. This flag will travel to cities across Ukraine, to regional centers, and will be unfurled at large events. As you can imagine, with a length of 170 meters, it can't be unfurled by just a few people. That's why the essence of unity here is that you can't unfurl it by yourself. Born on October 27th, 1993, and went missing
on October 3rd of this time, year in 25.
He went out to his position on September 2nd, and since then we haven't heard from him. The commanders don't answer calls and simply avoid any inquiries. This was his first combat mission.
Everyone for whom a child cries, everyone for whom no one takes any action. This flag is a symbol of the unity of every family.
In the center of Maidan, a silent performance is taking place. I am standing inside the heart. Half of it. These are empty chairs with camouflage and combat boots. The other half is the families of the missing. A unifying event where we come together for the sake of those who cannot say anything right now, for the sake of their return, for the sake of drawing attention.
We gather, we go to meetings, to rallies, all like one family. Because we've all been together for almost a year now. Every meeting is first and foremost support for each other. And of course, it's morally, emotionally, it's hard because every time it reminds us of what happened to our loved ones. But since we are like a family, and here many are like relatives, basically our guys, they're all Ukrainians, everyone must come home.
We are waiting for our Dmytro so much. We are really waiting. We hope and we believe.
I am waiting for him, even if it's on a shield, but I am waiting for him, and I hope we are all waiting for him to come home. We are waiting for him, and we do not stop fighting, and coming here is very difficult for us. Hear us, authorities, hear all of us, we all have pain, each their own. Some are waiting for loved ones from captivity, some are waiting for them on a shield, but we are all waiting for our family members.
Our task remains to bring everyone back alive and return from captivity, whether they are military personnel or civilians, and to find and bring back those who gave their lives.
Our work never stops. And only together with you will it continue, and only together with you will we achieve results. We
do not know. We have not seen, not heard. We are not simply living.
Here, the participants of the rally unfurled another flag, black and white.
A symbol of the missing.
At the moment, our group currently has approximately 700 members who are missing.
We would like to hear the truth, for an investigation to be conducted, for us to be given proper information, for them to tell us the fate of our loved ones, where they are. Because missing without a trace, it's such a terrifying concept, and people don't just disappear without a trace.
They said that everyone had died, but I received information that one of them was seen in captivity and they were together. That's the information I received. I truly believe that he is alive.
In the future, they plan to hold such events at least in Lviv and Dnipro as well.